Matt, what have you wrought and what have you brought?
I started this as a college thesis in 1991. My brother Chris had done the Enterprise D poster, and I called him up and said, "Hey, you do automotive cutaways. Can you give me an engine I can cut away?" And he goes, "Everyone does that. Why don't you do something different? Do the original Enterprise. No one's done that. I will give you some information and I can work as your consultant." And I'm like, "Why not? Let's do that." So my professors were like Star Trek fans and like, "Let's do it."
Wow.
So I started it, and he goes, "And if it's good, maybe we'll make it into a poster." So
how long did the first pass of this take you?
Well, we photographed the model on December 24th. He gave me a model for Christmas. We built it to get some angles to work with.
Right.
And part of the classroom, you have to use available reference. So the only available reference we had was the A.M.T. Earl model.
Right.
And Franz Joseph.
Wait, who's Franz Joseph?
Franz Joseph, the guy who kept Star Trek alive from 1969 till 1978, along with the animated series. So
gotcha.
He did the blueprints for the Enterprise, and he did it as a love letter to his daughter, who was a huge Star Trek fan.
Wow.
And but first thing I noticed when submitting this to Paramount was like, yeah, we don't. Franz Joseph helped Star Trek, but we don't follow because it's not necessarily accurate.
Oh, so they don't think of his work as canon?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they do enough in order to put the blueprints like a motion picture, the view screens and stuff like that.
Right.
And so I got a binder from Mike Akuda and Drexler, and
amazing.
And it was like, please put this here. Please put this here. We do not have a 36-degree offset bridge. Our bridge faces forward, which is what Ron Berry and Matt Jeffries always wanted.
Yeah.
If you were to talk to Bob Justman, he said the only reason why the turbolift was offset is because it made for a bad camera angle.
In its original position. Okay, so there's so many moving parts to this. And I'm curious about the percentage of stuff you had reference for, like the studio saying, please put these things in. But that can't have accounted for more than half the detail I'm looking at here, right? You're making up a lot of this as you go.
There's a lot that had to be sussed out with some artistic license.
Right. Stuff about where things were?
Right. So like the filming sets for the sick bay, for example, were part of the original filming set. So what I did is I had to make blueprints of the entire ship floor by floor in order to figure out how I'm going to cut this away first. So I have all vector blueprints for the ship.
Oh my gosh.
And I laid out the set on the blueprint so I knew exactly the size of the set on the actual ship.
Oh my gosh.
And then I also, figured out through the set blueprints how things could be put in the ship as well, which I didn't think was very well thought out with the Franz Joseph. I think he took a lot of artistic liberty too as well to figure that stuff out.
And you're taking similar liberties to readjust to make it more coherent.
Yeah,
Give or take.
Yes. But you know what? There's a lot of things in here that actually fall into place pretty well based on like the sets that they made.
Yeah.
For instance, how these set beams details were always on the ship at an angle.
Right.
You always felt like,
you know where you are.
You kind of know where you are, but also back when I did the Enterprise E cutaway for First Contact, there was a lot of diagonal struts going through the hull for structural support. And I said, you know what? Those are everywhere on the ship, so why don't I incorporate that into make them structural? And I also wanted to peel my cutaway style too. I'm still a work in progress on it, but I like peeling away the onion. And I thought if I'm going to do an illustration this big, I want to be able to explain why the bulkheads and the corridors are red.
Right.
Like that. I'm gonna say that that's the actual color of the alloy that comprises the ship's structure.
It's amazing.
And then you see it like in like if you were on a battleship, for instance, a World War II battleship, you might see a bulkhead
Yeah.
You know, and then I could also use the space generated for mechanicals.
Right.
I'll say HVAC for short.
Okay, so I'm positive that there are moments in your life or periods in your life that you remember by what you were painting on here at the time. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because every last little thing, every little nut and bolt is a choice you made based on trying to be accurate, but also trying to fill this out and make it feel right.
So what's important too to mention about the accuracy of what I did was this was all done in Illustrator first at 11 feet.
So
which is not a big deal in Illustrator because it's all vector and it's just math.
But so there's no 3D file of this. This is all you and Illustrator.
It's Adobe Illustrator.
Wow.
And so when I do the bridge took me a month to draw. So every button on every console, all of the details, as you are aware of bridge models,
yes,
is where it needs to be. The same with the buttons on the chair. It's a shame you can't create a piece of artwork that comes with a magnifying glass. All the computers are all laid out. Any piece of hardware that was displayed in an episode.
Yep. No, I figure. So like there's almost every room is from some different episode.
There's a lot of, I took advantage of, there's a lot of cruise quarters in here, so you could repeat those quite a bit.
Sure. Years and years ago, I was looking at a big coffee table book of cutaway galleons. And I was looking at it with a friend from Pixar, and he said, let's find the joke. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, nobody who is going to go through the tedium of drawing these cutaway models is going to be able to bear it unless they put a joke in. Is he right? Is there?
There's a lot.
Tell me where some of the jokes are here.
Well,
we were able to find in every page of the cutaway ship model, we found someone pooping. That was definitely one little Easter egg.
Yes, well, we'll get to that. But I've got the redhead kid from And the Children Shall Lead.
Oh.
He's doing the fist pump because he's really mad in this arboretum here.
Amazing.
We have tribbles.
Yep. Oh, that's where they are. Awesome.
We have the M114 salt sucker running the corridor.
That thing was absolute nightmare fuel when I was a child. That salt sucker was very upsetting to me.
We have, God, I'm going to ruin his name, but the animated series with the 3 arms. Is that Grok?
I cannot remember, but you got him.
Yeah, I got him. He's playing cards with. Well, no, he's playing 3D chess. I thought he was playing cards. He's and then getting back to you. I have a guy reading Starlog #1 magazine on the
pooper.
On the pooper.
Amazing. That's the best.
So a lot of the people in here too are the animated series people. I just made sure that when I drew them, that people would know they're from the animated series.
Just by choosing the specific way you drew them.
Yeah, for instance, Scotty walking up a Jeffrey's tube, that's an actual scene from the animated series.
Oh, it's so great to be able to put locations on so many of these things in context. It's not wrong to say that this entire thing is inside you.
No, it's took about 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
Probably 4. I stopped counting at like 4,000 hours. This was after the whole workday was done. When the kids go to bed, I spent just hours on this, maybe into the late hours of the evening. Yeah, so you just have to focus on a section. And then, when you're done doing the line work, then you have to import it in Photoshop. That's where it starts to get real, because Photoshop loads up fast and it's number crunching on the far end because of all the pixels.
Right.
Illustrator, you can make a big file like this and it's really not that big of a file, maybe 20 megabytes.
Right, not too big to move around, but Photoshop, it gets heavy quickly.
It's a 4 gig file in Photoshop at 11 feet.
Do you end up breaking it into chunks to work on it in Photoshop?
I did for the exterior. I did the exterior as different sections of the exterior, and then I did the interior, and then I mated it together. And that was a little of a tense moment. Like, is this going to be when the computer melts down? But I have multi-processors, and
was there a point during this where you lost saved work?
I didn't lose any saved work, but I actually tried an attempt at doing it at 600 DPI at 11 feet. And the computer just said, no way you're going to do that.
No.
So I made a compromise at 300.
Fair.
But it still looks good. If this were 20 feet at 300 DPI, it looks pretty good.
I am assuming that some of your inspiration, like mine, comes from mid-century popular mechanics drawings of break-aparts.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I'm seeing some other influences, and I'd love to ask you, because I feel like when I look at this, the inside of this nacelle, I feel like you're quoting a little bit of Jorodowski's Inkle in its color scheme with Mobius there.
Well, I wanted to like figure out how would that look inside.
Right.
The actual exterior of the nacelles are actually the actual nacelles from the restored 11-footer.
I thought that might be the case. They look exactly right.
The dish and the nacelle domes are photographs that I doctored up in Photoshop so that it didn't.
Right.
It would contrast, but
these are on the 11-footer that's at the Smithsonian that we have covered.
Right.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I recognized that photo.
So I just, I'm trying to creatively figure out how you compress the matter, because that's what it's doing.
Yep.
It's got an impeller. Not many people know that this actually rotates inside.
Yeah.
How do you explain that and compress the matter?
It's like you're doing as much work as the writers did to fit all this together.
That was the challenge. It's a 947-foot ship.
Oh my God.
And there were things that I couldn't, my brother Chris and I have a saying, in Cutaway, this thing probably suffers from the Jupiter 2 effect.
What is that?
That is, the Jupiter 2 really only had a deck and a half of functional space, but it had 3 decks on TV.
Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon suffers from the Jupiter 2 effect.
Yep.
A lot of models do.
R2-D2's leg rockets, they cannot fit inside his body.
Right.
Yes.
So we had to contend with that. Jeffries was really hardcore on 947 feet. Whenever you see a fan-made, midsection diagram of this, it's always 1,500 feet.
Whoa.
And it always seems to be in that area of 1,200 to 1,500 feet. In order to get things that they want to fit in the way they imagine them.
Oh, they have to make it that large.
Yeah. So one of the areas that it shows up the most is in the hangar bay.
Okay.
I have a full-size shuttle on the turntable, and that's just a turntable. It doesn't go down below the belly of the ship from the turntable, but people tend to use 3/4 scale, or the actual prop was 3/4 scale.
Gotcha.
And it had some forced perspective built into the prop. It's a wedge shape.
They did so much of that on the show.
Yeah, Matt Jeffries was a big forced perspective. Same with the warp manifold. In real life, that's about 12 feet deep.
Really?
But and there's a lot of great shots, and they love to film it when you were walking into engineering. That was your best shot, and the shot that people use for photogrammetry of like, okay, how big is this base? If we know how big the set is, how big is that? And that I calculated it to be 49 to 60 feet. So there's like an 11-foot
delta?
19 feet, 11 feet of difference there. I'm not great at math. But,
You're not great at math.
But because of that, my original poster that was approved and sold back in the mid-90s of this had this underneath the nacelles. But it doesn't fit. I mean, there's just no room for it originally.
Right.
So Gary Kerr, who helped me a lot on this actually, suggested, try moving it forward a bit. And that magically was awesome, because when you take the turbo lift down to the engineering deck, and you walk through the A-frame by the Jeffries tube, past the corridor crossway, past this cat ladder, into engineering. I mean, that's how long the set was.
Right.
And it worked out perfectly that the matter-antimatter control chamber, reaction chamber, was directly underneath the yellow.
That's incredible.
And it makes it all conform with the refit now.
So you get an experience of watching Star Trek that almost no one else does, because you know the topography and layout in here better than almost anybody else alive.
You're kind of watching it and counting strides. Like, okay, he walked this many strides. Well, that's about 3 feet of stride, knowing him. how far does that equate?
That's amazing.
None of this is like super hard as much as it's very time consuming. The challenge was after year 1, well, do I want to go year 2 on it? And then after year 2, do I want to go to year 3 on it?
Right.
And then
did you worry you were throwing good money after bad?
I kind of was. I figured this is a passion project at this point.
Right.
I would love to be able to do something with it sometime, and luckily we're going to be able to do something with it. So,
and they're going to sell it this size.
They're going to sell it this size.
That is amazing. I wish I had an 11-foot wall in my house. Yeah. I don't think I have any 11-foot walls in my entire life right now.
But if you did.
But if I did.
But if you did.
Dude, it is.
Yeah. And there's going to be a smaller edition as well for people who can want something a little smaller.
You must get kids that come to you and talk to you about how much time they've spent just like glomming into your work.
Yeah, it's kind of the eyes start to glaze over when I start to go. They're like, not realizing
that you're an even bigger geek than they are.
Well, yeah.
Matt, this is such an unbelievable achievement. Tell me what this is.
So this was these are power conduits.
Okay.
And,
that they figured out the sort of Nikola Tesla way of routing power?
A lot of the color scheme and some structural in this system was inspired by, in the episode of Enterprise, In a Mirror Darkly, where they get the Defiant. Remember the Defiant's inside that cave type hangar?
Right.
And it's an episode of Enterprise, so it's kind of there must have been a time thing going on there. Doug Drexler did a midsection diagram of a constellation.
Yeah.
And I liked the colors. It, reinforced to me that the structure should have a red tone.
Yeah.
There was an episode of Next Gen that showed the structure of the D Galaxy class having a red structure. That also helped. But this was in there, the placement of the power conduits throughout the ship. I'm like, great. It's kind of canon because it was on the show.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use it. And there's some nods to Franz Joseph. I didn't give up on Franz. There's a telescope.
Nice.
Because I thought, what's astrometrics in that century?
They're going to have some backup, right?
The tractor beams, there's a rear forward. I said those should be in there.
In the decades since this has been finished, has anyone come to you and pointed out something you missed? Or is there something you missed?
Not yet, but there's something I don't like not knowing that I couldn't figure out because it's literally impossible.
Okay, what is that?
How do you get to the hangar bay?
Oh.
So let this be your last battlefield. You're seeing, was it Lokai, or I can't remember the guy's name, or what side he was, black or white.
Right, yeah.
He's running through the hallways to get to the hangar bay, and he gets to the door and he opens the door into to get to his shuttle.
Yeah.
There's no, if you were to build that
sequence out,
that corridor would be outside the ship somewhere. But there's, Journey to Babel, where Spock's parents come to visit. They greet them at the shuttle bay, probably somewhere like around here.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of room for a turbo lift between the skin and the hangar. That's just, I was a little ambiguous. I'm happy to have the fandom figure that one out. But by moving engineering forward, I do have a maintenance hangar that falls forward, and there is room for a turbo lift to go through here. And I have it on my blueprints. Just, I had to figure that out to make sure there was enough room. So you could probably use your imagination to say that's where.
I love that. I knew there had to be something that was like physically impossible that just wasn't going to be in the final thing.
Yeah, no, it's hard to try to figure out certain things. Some things came from the Kimball cutaway. Kimball had water tanks, baffled water tanks.
Oh, nice.
This was a refit. That was a refit, so I figured they should be in the same spot.
Dude.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a proud papa looking at this, or are you happy that it's done and off of your bench?
I'm glad it's finished, but I have a 6-foot one in my office that before I turn the lights off, I'll glance up at it and go, Yeah, that was a journey.
Dude.
It's hard to not look at it every night you turn the lights off and say, oh, well.
I really respect that kind of paying respect to the work that we have done.
Yeah.
It's such an unbelievable achievement. It's so beautiful. I've been staring at it for the better part of an hour, and it keeps rewarding me with brand new things I didn't see before.
That's what happens. You get lost in it.
I love this kind of fandom, and specifically where you go from fandom to being a provider of the canon. That is my favorite journey, Matt. Thank you so much for bringing this here. It's incredible.
Awesome.
Hey, if you enjoyed that video, you might really enjoy this one too.